And we are back with the excuse me, with the fourth segment of the GSMC basketball podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. In this fourth segment, we are going to talk about the Jazz announcing their new jerseys. No, I'm just playing, but that's literally I just got an ESPN notification saying that the Jazz recently just announced their new jerseys. Go ahead and check them out. They look really, if you're nostalgic, you're really going to like how the Jazz logo looks now. It really looks like the original logo back when Stockton was playing, and you know who was playing. I'm not going to mention his name just because of reasons. And so, with that out of the way, we can these allergies. We can go right ahead and talk about NBA players and volleyball. Now, the reason why I decided to do this segment is mainly because of this player right here. So his name is Chase Budinger. He played for the Houston Rockets, as you could see by the jersey. He played for Minnesota as well as Indiana and Phoenix. Now, judging by the amount of teams that he played for, I'm sure you guys can, properly assume that he sort of hopped from team to team. He averaged for his career 7 points per game, one assist, 3 rebounds. He's a small forward. He's 6'6". He's 6'7", excuse me, and he shot 43% from the field, 35% from 3, and 79% from the line. So he had a pretty good career in the NBA. I mean, granted, he played all the way up until he was 28, which I mean, normally you'd ask to have a longer career, but he did end up going to play in another pro league in Spain. So he was obviously he was still playing basketball, just not at a high level like the NBA. Now, excuse me. On Wednesday, he clinched a spot in the Paris Olympics with Team USA in beach volleyball. So he's obviously, as I mentioned, he's a former Houston Rocket. He was teammates with Miles Evans. Turns out Miles Evans, he also earned the spot for Team USA after passing Theo Brunner and Trevor Crabb in the international rankings last month. So I actually didn't know about this. I'm literally just looking at this article now. I just saw the headline and I was thinking, this sort of reminds me of someone. But I'm going to go ahead and read the rest of this before I get into that. So this accomplishment, it apparently it's been a long time coming for Budinger, according to this article. He put down basketball in favor of volleyball in 2017, and he played 7 years in the NBA and 1 year of professional ball overseas before opting to take his career in a new direction. So he grew up playing beach volleyball with his brother and was a decorated indoor player in high school as well. He won three state titles and earned Mizuno's National Player of the Year award from Volleyball Magazine when he was a senior at La Costa Canyon High School in California. So he was really good at volleyball, and he received college scholarship offers for volleyball, but Budinger opted to play basketball for Arizona instead, while keeping his backup option in the back of his mind. I decided to see how far basketball could take me, Budinger said in 2018. But in the back of my mind, I knew I could always go back to volleyball after I was done with basketball. So it seemed like he already had a plan with where his career would go after he was done with basketball. Budinger played with multiple teammates before finding his match in Miles Evans last year. The duo is now the number 2 ranked team in the U.S. and the number 13 team in the world. And Team USA Beach Volleyball only sends 2 teams of each gender to the Olympics, making it one of the toughest sports to qualify for. And when their team hits the court in Paris, Budinger will be the first athlete to play in both an NBA regular season game and an Olympic beach volleyball match. Now, the former Lakers star Keith Erickson had a similar career path, but in reverse. So Erickson first played for Team USA indoor team in '64 before going to play 12 seasons in the NBA. So it would seem like a lot of NBA players, they could fall back. They could also be really elite at volleyball, and it literally reminded me of Wilt Chamberlain. Now, I'm sure you guys are wondering, how could you be reminded of Wilt Chamberlain? He didn't even exist in your time. And that is true, but I was reminded of the fact that he did play volleyball and he was inducted in the Volleyball Hall of Fame. He had a really short career playing volleyball in a league that didn't really last that long. I believe it was called let me actually find the name of it. Like the International Volleyball Association or something like that. Um I'm just going to make sure that I have the International Volleyball Association, the IVA. He played for after he was done with basketball, he played volleyball with in that league, and he also served as the league president at one point. So obviously, having someone as ridiculously athletic as Wilt on your team is just one of the ultimate cheat codes you could have in basketball. So him playing volleyball just sounds even more ridiculous, because volleyball, it's one of those sports where I might not be well versed in professional volleyball, but my college does have a women's volleyball team. They're really good. I watch them every single time. I'm friends with all of them on the team. They're really nice. They're really nice people, and the sport is also really fun. And I get the rules and I understand the basis of volleyball a lot better now that I watch them play, and I can input it into this. So Wilt, obviously he's ridiculously tall and his vertical is insane. So it's having someone that tall and that strong with that much bounce in their legs is literally it's cheating, because especially at this time, he's so much more athletic than everyone else. Look at all them short shorts. He's so much more athletic than the next guy up that it's he can jump higher, he can spike the ball harder, and a lot of the at least on the men's side, a lot of the times the round usually ends after one of the players spikes the ball, because the ball moves so fast. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but having him on the defense as well is a really good plus, because you need that sort of tall player at the front to be able to get blocks and prevent the ball from going over on the other side and hitting inbounds and things like that. And it's having someone that's tall is a lot easier than having somebody that's a little bit shorter, which was a problem for our volleyball team. It was the height difference. And when you think about it, a lot of these NBA players, they would be very, very well suited to play professional volleyball, because they have the height, they have the endurance, because they're constantly running back and forth on an NBA court. So simming that down to volleyball, it's because there's breaks within every single set, and a lot more breaks than with basketball, where you're constantly running back and forth, and the only time you have to relax is either if you are resting on offense, sitting in a corner, or if you have a timeout. But those rest moments are few and far in between. Not as much as the sets are in volleyball, because it's every time you have a set, you can take a bit of a breather. So you're never really out of stamina. And at least when compared to NBA players and how they have to handle their stamina. So that, on with the stamina being handled on top of their height, on top of being really fast on the floor, as well as being really athletic individually, I see no reason why NBA athletes can't participate in these high level volleyball games, given their ridiculous height. Imagine a center that's let me think of because there's got to be one. Imagine Victor, imagine Victor playing volleyball. He wouldn't even have to jump to get over the net. All he has to do is just do this, and boom, he gets every single block. It sounds crazy. I just imagine how good they would be and how many basketball players could be in the Volleyball Hall of Fame if they pursued that towards the end of their career. It was just something that I wanted to talk about. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that basketball players could make some of the best volleyball players? Do you guys think that Wilt was just a crazy phenomenon and he was one of the few X factors and acceptors in this rule, where it's he could play multiple sports? He's just that much of a crazy legend at this point. In my eyes, he was a legend. He's a myth. He's definitely, because the things that he does, the records that he holds, it seems so like impossible now. It's difficult to imagine that it was possible back then. And on top of that, there are no stories and no real concrete evidence about that. Like, we have stories, but there's no real concrete evidence because there were no cameras, or not as much cameras on him at the time. And, like, in my eyes, like, I mean, granted, especially since I wasn't born at that time, I see him as a myth because, like, the records that he holds, the numbers that he puts up, the things that he does, his accolades, all of that, it just seems a little bit like, it just doesn't seem real. Now, obviously, that when you look at the playoffs, he looks a little bit more human than usual, but most of the time that's not really the case. So, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think a lot of NBA players could be good volleyball players, or do you think it's just wilt? So, that's all I have on this segment. So now we will go ahead and go into the special fifth segment where I have an interesting topic of conversation. This is going to be a much shorter segment than the other ones because, I mean, there's not really much to talk about. It's really just asking for some of your opinions and me giving some of mine. And they're about Derek Lively or Kristaps Porzingis. I saw this on an Instagram post. Like, people were, and on Twitter, they were actually like talking about Lively or Kristaps, which one they would prefer to be on their team. And I will be right back after this short break to talk a little bit more about that. So be sure to stay tuned.